Hey guys, today the topic, she is suddenly ice cold to me. Mostly out of nowhere. The first time I stumbled upon this, it was really a constant up and down of emotions, and I was completely convinced at that moment that there could be something wrong in this woman's head. Overall, there was this phase twice that this ex was so to me in this specific relationship that you couldn't think that she could still feel anything for me. This was because I actually managed to get through to her the first time. Spoiler alert, the effort was absolutely not worth it in the end. It was more like putting a band-aid over a wound and then slowly peeling it off over the course of a year. And in the end, it was exactly the same as the first time. I had not fundamentally changed and worked on myself, but instead tried to convince her of me. And that is what I always try to give you. There must be a feeling in her and coming from her to want you back. If you want to convince her with words and partly also with deeds, then there is still a doubt in her against which you must come at any time. So I can also tell you, if she is like that to you, then don't get involved with everything you have. The right step would have been to retreat a little. The ice barrier I was facing would have melted either by, from her side, missing her and not being clear, or from my side, saying that I want to work on this with her and she can get back to me if she feels the same way. Because all of that would have left the door ajar when I left and made it easy for her to put out feelers for me again. Instead, I used the sledgehammer method, in a conversation that lasted for hours, to tear down that barrier in her. I don't even remember if it was 2 or 4 hours. Again, for the record, before that, there were no feelings at all. She doesn't want this anymore. She doesn't want me anymore. She did not miss me. After the mentioned barrier was broken, crying fits, hugging, kissing, she didn't mean all that. Of course she missed me all the time, but she just couldn't take it anymore. She never wants to be without me again. What exactly is this supposed to show you now? A woman is not clear to herself about what and why she feels certain things. By the way, we men are usually not one bit better. We just act, and that is usually the mistake on this level. At the moment we met, my ex didn't have feelings for me or subconsciously suppressed them so much that she didn't feel them. That was the way it was for her. There was no defiance, there were no tactics. No bad intentions. That she met with me was the highest of feelings she could allow. And probably only because she thought she owed it to me or because she herself didn't really want to feel the way she did. However, I attribute the result that came out of it to external circumstances, among other things. Namely, that there was no better candidate for her at that time. That should be your goal at all times. Whether you are in a relationship or just dating. You don't stand a chance if you don't have an attraction to her, and you are not better than your competition. What am I getting at here? To the fact that women are hypergamous. And no, that's not a misogynistic prejudice or generalization. I love women, and the fact that women are like that is something I've come to see as an advantage for myself. You just have to understand and accept it first to be able to deal with it. Hypergamy for women only means that they want the best possible man. Actually, even just that they date up. The man who satisfies their needs, who they can rely on, and who can safely get them or their joint children through in times of need. This also includes many little things that every woman waits a little differently for herself. Consciously and subconsciously. But these are the things that make a man attractive. The order does not play a role here now. So there are, appearance and health, social status, for example within the circle of friends. The job, whereby in my eyes the salary plays less of a role than his status and appearance. Money is a byproduct of it. It only has to be enough to maintain the standard of living you are used to. And of course whether you are up to it and she can look up to you. These are all things that women reevaluate at any time. Initially in the relationship, she only sees the potential you have in that direction. The rest is then done by the pheromones, and the rose-colored glasses cover up so much that was not clear about you before. So, women are hypergamous. Does that mean that they jump at the next best thing at any time? No, they have initially developed attraction and later an attachment to you. They want to hold on to that bond. Women are not the worst people because of their hypergamy, not being in control or not having responsibility for what they do. When it comes to loss of control, men are many times worse. Now what was I getting at with all this talk about hypergamy? You feel like you're hitting a wall of ice with her. She doesn't give you anything anymore. Not a bit of warmth or hope for it. That's because your actions, or lack thereof, have reduced her attraction to a level that now makes her doubt that you are the best option for her. The moment she thought that, her feelings for you also disappeared. This is bad to say now in hindsight, but if you couldn't get through to her anymore, in very many cases there is already another man involved. One who is paying attention to her and hoping for something out of it. One on whom she has placed her hopes instead of on you. Yes, she could have just been so desperate and think that you will never change. There doesn't have to be another man involved. But just when her attraction to you is gone, she can't feel for you what she used to feel. Not at this moment. And the worst thing you can actually do is try to convince her. Because they usually don't tell you from the beginning that the feelings are gone. They are still hoping that you can change something in them. The moment they really openly communicate this to you, it's actually already too late for you to actively do something to change it permanently. And your women are or were just as desperate as you. But they are already a few steps further inwardly than you are now. You are now getting all this at once. You are now asking yourself, what can I do about it? And the separation is the appropriate step. With women, the panic of closure sets in. You are not the right one. How much time do I have to find the right one? If she wants children and marriage and so on, these are all factors that accelerate the process. In my case, for example, there was a new guy right away. And 7 days before it was all over and they got together, I heard the last, "I love you," from her. But something she felt, thought, or made clear to herself during that time, something that was completely illogical and absolute bullshit to me that I could have directly refuted on that logical level, something made her shift her hopes for my potential to another point. To another guy with, in her opinion, greater potential. And in that moment, I was out. Don't blame them for how they feel. Look at why that was the case. That was completely clear with me. Actually, it was already half a year before. See what you can do about it now. But to you. The worst thing you can do now is to crawl after her and want an explanation from her. She doesn't know all this herself. But she knows that this is the way it is for her and you have to respect that. Actions should have come sooner. But honestly, the world keeps turning and what I told you earlier about hypergamy and potential will be just as the case with your ex's new guy. They're all so pumped up with hormones to begin with that they only see what they want to see. I mean, how often have they been successful in finding a partner? Never, otherwise they would still be with you or with someone else before you. They will also have this thought from time to time. You have seen it in my experience. This ice cold, what a woman presents to you at that moment, she has to do in order not to feel like you do right now. But she can't maintain that 24 hours a day, for weeks and months. If you have not reacted completely negatively in her eyes during the separation, then she will not need this wall as a means against you for long. Now, however, nothing will bring you both back into a relationship at eye level. And that's why I recommend you no contact, so that you can protect yourself from her coldness and become the man who is ahead of other candidates at all times. Take care and see you in the next video.